What about Drake Maye? What about him? What's your assessment for him to go to Washington tonight?
You know, what everybody's, and again, this is kind of the interesting thing with Jaden Daniels, too, is that he wasn't necessarily the guy we saw last year until last year. We look at Drake Maye, and a big part of our evaluation is going to be last year, you know, because he has some technical issues, some things that has to be cleaned up.
Like what? What needs to be cleaned up?
Well, so, you know, from our perspective, like you'll see his feet come close together. That's not what we want as a quarterback, because when our base gets tight, it creates more movement. There's times at the top of his drop where he's bouncing. And you always know as a quarterback, you can't throw when you're bouncing. You've got to come back into your base and throw it. So the timing aspect of things, getting a better and more solid base to get the ball out on time and quicker and more accurately are things he's got to work on. But we saw the physical ability this year as well as last year. But if we took this draft class and we moved it back a year, and it was, you know, a year ago, where would Drake Maye be in the mix? He would probably be number 2 on the mix because of what he did in the season he had 2 years ago. So which one are you getting? And how are you evaluating these guys? Is it the guy we saw last year? Is it the guy we saw earlier in their career? And so that to me is you know, one of those questions that I think different teams will see it differently. Is, oh, it was a different system last year, different offense coordinator, different team around him last year. We're going to go back to 2 years ago, and they may have him elevated a little bit higher than they may off of last year's tape. So very good quarterback, has all the skill set, and I like comparison. So Jaden Daniels compared to Joe Burrow. That one great year, is that what we get in the NFL? How about Josh Allen? Josh Allen, Drake Maye, very similar. In college, ups and downs. There were some accuracy issues, all of that stuff. Josh Allen got with the right coaches, worked on his craft, now is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League because he's got that physical to go with the technical stuff and obviously the mental part of it, which I think are all things Drake Maye has, but we can't project forward if he's going to learn and get better with that accuracy aspect of things that, you know, kind of wavered sometimes this year.
So I'm just going to go here with you, and I hope you go with it with me, Kurt. So Caleb Williams, first overall.
Yep.
Who would you counsel Washington to take second overall?
Again, yeah, I always have to put a caveat because I don't get the room. I don't get to be in a room with these guys.
I understand.
And interview them
but
and get them on the board.
Radio.
I know.
How dare you be
so
nuanced?
If we're just doing talk radio, I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
How do you not? After the season he had last year, how good he was, I could pull out a couple games, Mississippi State game, the Ole Miss game, where I looked at those games and I'm like, that is about as NFL-type play as I saw from anybody in college football last year. So to see that a couple times, coupled with a season like he had, like to me, it's a no-brainer that you have to go there based solely on that.
Then New England's sitting there. Do they take Drake Maye?
I think they do.
You would counsel them to take Drake Maye?
I think they do, yes. You know, if you're going quarterback at that spot, I think you have to go Drake Maye there. And you have to believe that you can correct some of those flaws, and he can become, you know, your Josh Allen.
Would you counsel the Giants or Vikings to make some sort of monster offer to get New England to not do that and then move up to get Drake Maye? Would you counsel that?
You know, I don't know if I would counsel that for the Giants. Just because they have Daniel Jones, they've invested in him.
You really believe in him?
Well, I don't know if I believe that he's that franchise guy, but I don't know if they're in that situation where they feel like they're a quarterback away.
Okay,
so because of that, and you've got, you know, how much are you willing to give up without being able to build the team around the quarterback, which is kind of what we've seen a little bit with Daniel Jones.
Yes.
If you're Minnesota, I think you look at the roster and you say, we may just be a quarterback away, a good quarterback away for a number of years. You want to get Justin Jefferson signed on for the long term. And you have the capital with the 2 number 1 picks that if I'm Minnesota, I'm definitely considering it more than if I'm the New York Giants, if I can get up there and make sure I get my guy.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.